happens live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Grand Prix Chicago. This is round 7. I'm Brian David Marshall, joined by Ben Sek, and we are watching Hall of Famer Luis Scott Vargas playing against Brad Nelson, who's been a juggernaut of the standard Grand Prix circuit.
Yeah, I mean, he's like made 4 top 8s of like the last 6 standard, like, or 5 standard, like Grand Prix. Brad is absolutely like a juggernaut in this format.
And playing a kind of crazy deck in this tournament. He's playing Naya Planeswalkers.
Yeah.
With some really strange cards that you like. I don't think anyone had Scion of Vitu-Ghazi on their, you know, I need to find some copies of this for the GP list.
Oh no, I'm pretty sure a lot of people are like checking a Gatherer right now. It's like, what is?
That's me.
And it's Luis Scott Vargas is on the mono blue Devotion deck, so it's actually been very, very popular this weekend. Sporting his very, very sexy beta lands.
Yeah, there was apparently a meeting of the minds with Sam Black on the beta lands because he wanted all the same art, and they each only had some of,
yeah,
you know.
And the dark one. Those are the best looking ones. Yeah. Okay, so he's gone Frostburn Weird.
Into Night Veil Spectre. We have a Courser Crucifix and a Voice of Resurgence on the Naya side.
Yeah, I mean, Brad has really always been a big fan of kind of the mid-range, aggressive, like, green decks.
Yep.
And, like, he actually top-8'd with a Naya deck that was almost, like, out of the blue, like early on in the season, and now he's kind of, like, come at it again with Naya.
The return of the Scion of Vitu-Ghazi. Alright, something's coming.
Yeah, it plays it untapped. Xenagos.
Oh boy. Makes a Satyr.
Yeah, so the Xenagos, like, will maybe like in trouble a little bit because there's a Night Veil Spectre on the other side that can pressure it. I mean, he can't kill it, so it will be interesting to see if like Luis decides to actually go for Xenagos and eventually get him. He does.
Oh yeah.
Yep. He knows kind of the like.
But that also protects a card off the top of his library, right? Like that's got to be part of what Brad's thinking about there.
Right. And but the thing is, I think Brad actually might want to use the Xenagos for mana because he's got like I think he's got cards like Elspeth.
Ooh, there's an Advent to the World on top of his deck. So yeah, this is a deck with cards we have not either never seen before or some cards we haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah, I think Advent of the Worm is like one of those cards that had like really almost underperformed like the potential.
What a Pro Tour!
It's true, but like it's not a card that it's an instant 5/5 with trample, and so it actually like is really good in kind of this modern like standard where it can actually pressure planeswalkers really well. So I think it's a great tool for dealing with planeswalkers. It's a great tool for like putting pressure on your opponent. And with Vitu-Ghazi, he's able to actually copy the Worm token, which is like incredible.
Right.
So decided to get mana from his Xenagos, producing 4, and here it is. So I presume that the Scion of Vitu-Ghazi is probably
gonna copy a Worm token. He has made the worm. Yeah.
It either is going to copy the bird. It's going to go for a bird and a satyr, maybe.
Right.
Or maybe 2 birds. 2 birds.
2 birds. He just wants to like eat both of those eat a flyer and chomp a flyer.
Yeah. No, I think it allows him to like block the Judge's Familiar or possibly block the 2 that's coming in, the 2 Night Veil Spectres that are coming in.
Before Brad showed me his deck this morning, he showed me his assortment of tokens. He's like, figure out what I'm playing. I'm like,
so I guess he's got. I know he has at least 4 different tokens. He has Satyr tokens, he has Bird tokens, he has Worm tokens, and he has Elemental tokens. So I wonder if he actually has a couple more other ones.
I think there were Soldier tokens.
So no, because he has Elspeth,
right?
So 5 different tokens. I don't know if there's any deck in the format that has 5 tokens. Maybe Splashing Blue for Oh yeah, if he has Celestia Charm, he has Knights. So
yes.
I mean, it could be a lot of different tokens.
Yeah, we're still waiting on our deck lists to give you the exact token count.
I wonder what the highest amount of different tokens like a constructed deck is like made.
Okay.
So I think my guess is he's gonna go for Xenagos here because he really wants to try and like see if he can stop the mana engine that is Xenagos. Almost at the expense of his Judge's Familiar, because if Brad wants to like eat up the Judge's Familiar with one of the birds, he's going to have to basically allow Xenagos to die. So I think Xenagos just decides to let it go, doesn't want to lose any of his birds. Luis basically just adds to his board presence. He has a lot of blue pips, so if the Master of Waves comes down, he'll be well.
Oh yeah,
well.
that will be disgusting. I'm just trying to figure out how Brad's gonna just punch through here.
So actually, one of the cards that we haven't talked about actually probably will allow Brad to punch through quite a lot, and that's Purphoros, God of the Forge.
Oh wow!
So obviously, it's not a mono-red like devotion deck, but Purphoros has his secondary ability that's excellent with tokens. Basically, every time a creature comes into play with Purphoros, he can do 2 damage to a player, and in combination with things like Elspeth, that's 6 damage every time Elspeth activates.
Speculative attack. Yeah. The creatures wandered the top of the wall, thought about leaving the fortress, and then they're like, I don't know. It's raining out.
His flyers can probably attack unhindered, and I think that the Scion is big enough that he'll have to actually lose. He has to kind of like pump a weird all the way. I wonder if he's gonna block weirdly. No.
Yeah, he did. He actually beat the most normal weird block of all time.
Okay, so looks like Luis has a rapid hybridization, an island in his hand, and we're not sure what the third card is. We kind of know, like,
He's starting to get a little nervous about. I mean, you can't be getting too nervous about Brad's army.
So he decides 1. I think it's because I can't see what the top card of his deck is, but it might actually, he might be not wanting the top card.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, because it's a pretty interesting interaction between like Nightveil Spectre and Courser of Kruphix. So it kind of allows Luis basically
Block wars.
Yeah. he basically gets to like extract a card from Brad's deck if he doesn't like it, or just not attack. It's like, oh, you got a land? I'll let you draw the land. So it seems that he's going to play a main phase. Enderton Advent. So reveals a Temple of Abandon, which he'll probably play off the top of his deck with the Courser of Kruphix. It's another Elvish Mystic, and he's going to like scry that to the bottom.
So many touches.
It's true. It's funny, like with scrying and with like Courser of Kruphix, green has like some of the best like deck manipulation. You can get to a lot of the cards. Right. You can play 1-ofs and 2-ofs and actually see them quite a lot.
Right. We talked about this a little bit with Thassa in the blue deck too.
Yeah, and it's actually why I think the standard like currently is like really skill testing. There's a lot of little like mechanical kind of things like with scrying, Thassa, like Courser of Kruphix, just a lot of incremental advantages that good players can get. Thoughtseize, excellent. Like excellent example of that. Okay. Well,
Oh, well, hi.
I guess there's we've decided not to muck around now, so we're just going to get everything in.
Bored.
I think Brad actually was saying earlier this weekend. It's like he doesn't like decks that he gets bored with. Like, so he wants to be able to attack all the time when he can. I think he wants to be able to like turn the corner really quickly. I think that's one of the things that like a lot of Brad's decks do well is like be able to shift gears, go from what is a pretty like stable board state to attacking very quickly. So it looks like he's
taking 5. Oh, they're taking 10.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, he's going to lose that satyr. Lose both his birds, but he gets a Judge's Familiar. Taking 10. Putting Luis actually to pretty low now. Like, I mean, 8, especially with a worm token there.
Right.
It's
and another Voice of Resurgence.
So Luis only drew another Judge's Familiar, not the hottest draw right now. And in some ways, he's kind of tempted probably not to attack with the Nightveil Spectre because there's a Sacred Foundry on top of his deck, and he's like, oh, well, if I can deal with the board as it stands, maybe I shouldn't even attack. But the worm, like the current board, doesn't really deal with the worm very well. So Luis is going to have like maybe use that rapid hybridization that's in his hand.
He needs to use it now if he's going to.
It's true.
There's two Voice of Resurgence.
Yeah, the voices definitely make doing things on your opponent's turn not very profitable.
And really make you uncomfortable too, because you're so used to sequencing things a certain way.
Right. No, I've definitely had situations where I've sequenced things in such a way that, like, just because of my normal like operations, I'm like, oh, okay, I'll wait, and then totally forgetting the voice.
So he does attack with both.
So we just lost the feed for a second. Just bear with us while we reset. Okay, so he actually
hit the Sacred Foundry and then hit the Perforos.
Oh wow!
So he could actually
he could kind of go off. Like I think that puts Brad to. I'm not sure what life total he's on right now. We're just like resetting that up. But in attacking with both his Spectres, he actually has revealed the Scion of Vitu-Ghazi, which now has a juicy target.
Yeah, a 5/5 Advent Worm token. So when Scion of Vitu-Ghazi comes into play, it makes a bird token, and then it populates.
Right.
So you can get 2 birds, which we saw earlier, but if there's a better target, you get a bird and a worm.
Right. So
you know, it's like those pictures online where a fox and a bunny cuddle together.
I haven't seen those photos.
Really?
Oh no! Okay. It's so.
Your girlfriend showed them to you. It's okay.
That's probably true. It's basically kind of like having an Armada worm without having to deal with the 6 mana or 5 mana. Okay, so it looks like Luis has decided to take 2, taking him down to 6. He's playing with Perforos. Wow! Like, and then he's gonna like. Oh, so his plan is basically to burn him out with his own Perforos.
By the way, he's a Frostbone weird away from
true.
Getting it devoted.
So now there's a wow. Now so like Brad's like offense is kind of stymied now. He really can't really like punch through.
He's dead in the air next turn.
Yeah, he's definitely dead in the air. He
goes to 1, but any creature kills him.
I actually think Brad does not have an answer here. Like he's going to attack. There's going to be some blocks, but he's going to essentially go to 2 in the air.
Except that we know he has the Scion, so he can make 2 flyers.
Right. But the other problem that he's got is that he has a rapid hybridization in his hand, so that actually that's basically 2 damage. If he really
yeah, absolutely.
Also, he can pump with Perforos.
Oh.
So actually the Judge's Familiar itself actually like also can do 2 damage. So he basically
Luis is considering going to 2 here.
Yeah, I think he knows every card in Brad's hand because of like Courser. So he knows he can.
Such a weird card.
Right. Courser. I mean, I've definitely seen games where the information is just giving away the game.
Yes. Well, it could also be. It's also weird for coverage. It can really be like you're waiting for the dramatic top deck moment, and you're like, oh no, I know I got nothing coming up.
Okay, so now with the sign of Vitu-Ghazi,
2 flyers.
It's definitely not clear whether he loses. Like he can pump once. Oh, wow! So he's actually going to turn 1 down.
You have another creature. Pump purpose. Yeah, pump purpose.
Right, he shows him. He says, "I'm going to get through for this much in the air, and then I've got another creature. You're dead."
Yeah, like basically, actually, the pump from
Right.
Purphoros was the thing that made the difference, because like even if you blocked 1 of the specters, he was still going to take 5, and then the Platform Raptor basically did the final 2.
Yeah. So we're gonna look in while those guys sideboard. We see Yuta Takahashi on your left, one of the great Japanese, Grand Prix superstars.
Yeah, no, it's like, so Japan really hasn't had a kind of too many of a new breed coming out, but like Yuta is definitely one of those players that can really be the next, like maybe the next Kenji, the next Masashi.
Right.
Like he really has that potential.
And then we see Oscar Jones. Oscar, we met Oscar when he played in the Magic Online Championship a little while back, and he does have a Grand Prix top 8 in his career. Young guy from I believe he's from Utah.
Right. So this is like one of the classic matchups in the format. Like, you know, we've seen this
a few times today. It's like, let's check it on the back table that has mono black versus mono blue.
Right. I mean, so Oscar has a Hall of Triumph, which we talked about earlier. Like, is actually really quite good against the mono black decks because just protection for
we saw it just create like all sorts of problems last round.
Oh yeah, no, like Jamie Park had a real big problem where his Golgari charms just weren't effective against Master Waves because of
they couldn't kill the Master Waves, they couldn't kill the tokens,
just was all around bad matching up of cards.
He couldn't Bile Blade or Doom Blade at a Master and then kill the tokens. It was
So what is it? The Raptor.
It's actually a really nice card in this matchup.
Or
so it looks like
5, but that actually doesn't matter.
the players are 1-1, and so Yuta has
same thing. One hall for
one hall. I think there was a an SCG Open that had like a version of the mono blue deck, and it had 1 hall, and I think that has become a little standard.
Yeah,
I've seen like them board up to like 2 or 3 after sideboard. And I'm not sure exactly I'm
not seeing any in his.
I think you just want 1 just to really kind of like screw around with the mono black kind of deck. It's not something you want to draw too many of because you want to draw more threats.
Right.
But one of them really puts a hurting on.
It doesn't actually lose until that purple showed up.
Okay. So
I don't know.
the Brad Luis game is almost ready.
Almost ready to resolve the mulligan. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here, Ben.
So Yuta has drawn a Thoughtseize. He has a Packrat, a Thoughtseize, no, I think it's a Devour Flesh, and a Hero's Downfall. So
that was a Packrat up front.
Yeah. The Packrat here.
Oscar Jones not employing single art technology on his lands.
Yeah. I mean, that was actually one of the things I learned at my first Pro Tour. I was berated by, I can't remember which player, but like some pro player at the time for my first Pro Tour.
Scott McCord?
Actually, it could be. Scott McCord did berate me back in the day, so like
it's almost certainly Scott McCord.
But yeah, no, I mean, one of the things I think a lot of like pro level players do employs basically of basic lands of the same type. They try and do the same art because of things like Thoughtseize or anything that really looks at your opponent's hand. You can get a little bit more information if you knew what land they drew.
Right. So we get a turn 2 Elvish Mystic.
Oh, into a turn 2 Tidebinder mage, which is possibly the most kind of like sick thing. It's definitely like I played quite a lot of the mono blue deck, and whenever you get to like Tidebind a mana creature is sweet.
And we've gotten people have gotten spoiled because Sylvan Carrier you can't do that
Right.
too. You know, but you're like, oh yes, Elvish Mystic, excellent. This is just a curve draw. Like,
yeah, and this is the best draws of like mono blue. Wow,
whoa.
wow, Anger of the Gods, like definitely unexpected everything, and so.
An emphatic Anger of the
Yeah,
Gods for
like,
Brad.
yeah, he's like, I knew what was happening. It's possible that he like almost planned it that way.
Oh, but then look at the little sideboard technology from
Ooh.
Luis here. He's like, oh, you want to play the token game? I've got a Ratchet Bomb for you.
Well, though Xenagos does have almost infinite. Oh wow, just flicking at his face.
High and inside.
That's right.
He's got a high and inside Satyr token.
You got in the box. Oh, okay. So he, I think Luis like prefers to play with Brad's cards more than Brad prefers.
Well, Luis might be feeling getting a little revenge for last game where his opponent like stole his Bident with his Night Veil Spectre and drew more cards with his Bident than he did.
And his opponent was playing Esper Control, so it's not. He basically his opponent had boarded into Night Veil Spectre, then stole a Night Veil Spectre with his Night Veil Spectre, and then basically had this kind of like,
hitting Night Veil Spectres and Bident going at the same time. Gross. All right.
Okay.
What do we have? There's the Scion.
So let's see if he's going for 2 Satyrs. I think so, because he did it like pre-attack, attacking for 4. This is actually like a really, really impressive kind of showing for like these cards. Like he had no creatures basically like a turn ago, and now he has 4 creatures and like 2 2/2s, a 4/4, and a 1/1 flyer, which is like. I think that this is the hidden power of Brad's deck. It's this like ability to rebuild like very, very quickly from nothing.
Another domestication. Oh no, that's Master Waves.
The good thing about Master of Waves is it has protection from red as well, which means that it can block the red-green Satyr tokens. Domestication, Satyr stays home though, in the face of the 4/4.
Luis has not ratcheted up the Ratchet Bomb.
It's true.
He's like, no, it was already loose. I didn't need to do anything.
I don't think Luis was like planning to kill as many tokens as he when he put it into his deck the first time. It probably was just meant to be this catch-all, but now it actually is shining the fact that
he had a Ratchet Bomb with Brad's face drawn on it. He was ready.
Though, to be fair, Luis currently has more tokens in play than Brad does, so I wonder who the token deck really is. So I mean, this matchup has been like really like full of haymakers. I mean, Luis curved out perfectly. Wow, that yet another unexpected kind of like card here. It's like Archangel of Thune, which with all the token makers can be like extremely powerful.
Is he going to make some mana here?
I wonder if he makes some mana, he can make 5 mana. Maybe he can play Elspeth. Like yep, he is making mana. So making 5, tapping his 6 land mana confluence, and now
this game is crazy.
So like
protection from blue, uncounterable, 5/5. Miscut a Hydra comes down.
Yeah, and
after Brad has tapped out for the turn.
So, and I mean, Luis only has one creature that isn't actually Yeah. So Luis decides, like, I don't care about the tokens. I think we have a bigger problem.
Right, because even though he paid 6 for that, the converted mana cost on that is 1.
Right. I think Luis almost wishes that he didn't domesticate the satyr now. Like, he would really, really like an Archangel of Thune. though, to be fair,
well, not really.
Well, that's true. Not. Oh, in fact, he does want one. I think it's possible that he's going to chump with it more than like.
Right. Brad's like, how can I make him gain a little life? Although that's pretty terrible too.
So really, kind of the board is. I mean, it's hard to know to say it's stalemated, but there certainly is a lot of power on both sides.
Yeah,
So
it's not the match of Magic I was expecting
No.
to see.
I mean, this has played out very, very interestingly, just because of like how Luis has boarded, because he's boarded in the domestications, he's boarded in Ratchet Bomb, and now the matchup is kind of like this, like seesawing kind of battle of like who could trump
Right.
like each other.
All right.
So Brad has
He's played a Temple of Plenty.
made a lot of mana.
No, oh, he's just played. Oh, he made another mana,
Foreign pool.
and he's deiciding. He really wants the angel back, which I can't blame him. Now he still has a bunch of mana left.
I think so, right? He made
Yeah. And he's gonna. Oh wow!
Good turn for me.
Like he overloaded mortars
Wow.
while leaving only the Master of Waves because it has protection from red. That has got to be the. I mean, I wouldn't say it's the nail in the coffin, but it really has to be one of. There's not a lot that Luis can do right now.
To be honest, it's just filthy.
It's really filthy. It's likely that he's probably going to try and double block the Scion here, and then probably blow up the Ratchet Bomb, so he can deal with the.
Yep. That's exactly what he does.
So he takes one,
Yeah.
but Brad has an army left,
Right.
and Luis has
A
nothing.
card left.
I know what my bets are on this game. I know. Yep. And Luis also agrees. So
No.
I mean, really showing the power of Brad's deck. Brad's deck just like just out-trumped his opponent.
Right.
I mean, played overloaded mortars. He played
and
Archangel of Thune.
those are our main deck mortars, of course.
Yeah, and just every card was like extremely powerful.
We still haven't seen Domri Raid show up, which is in his deck.
I wonder if he kept in the Domries here.
Yeah.
Domri is a little soft to like flyers, and so it's very possible that they might have come out.
And he brought a lot of sideboard cards in because we saw that he brought in Anger, we saw that he brought in Mistcutter, we know that he brought in Deicide, and we know that he brought in Archangel. So he brought in 4 of the 5 different cards in his sideboard.
Right.
I don't know how many he brought in of each.
Right. I mean, all those cards seem like really good, so I think that maybe he only brought in one Deicide. The cards in his main deck he's likely to have taken out is Purphoros, which is just a little slow probably for this kind of matchup. Elspeth also a little slow for this matchup, not that great.
And not going to come down and reset the board,
right.
You know, like wipe your opponent's board in this matchup.
And I suspect that either Domri Raid or his Advent of the Worm came out. I think more likely Domri because he's bringing in like some spells, so he might have like reduced the amount of creatures in his deck to the point of like Domri not being as effective as it was before.
Hey, you're going to look at our upcoming webcast schedule. I'm going to be in DC next weekend with Marshall Sutcliffe and Ben Stark to talk about Theros Block Sealed Draft.
Changing one Ben S for another Ben S in the booth.
Yes.
I'm lucky enough to be able to play in DC. I'm looking really.
Are you really? You're
yes,
coming in? Oh, awesome. That'll be great.
No, like I mean, I love Seal and Draft, and Theros Block is like it's actually a really fun sealed format just because there's a lot of cross set synergies in it.
You didn't want to go to Milan. That's also the same weekend.
I actually consider that because I'm actually currently living in England at the moment. So I was like, well, should I go to DC? Well, DC is actually closer to England than Milan is, maybe. I don't know if that's true, but I decided DC.
Well, that'll be good. That'll be fun. And then Grand Prix Boston Worcester, which is modern, right before the Pro Tour. It's July 26th and 27th.
It's the last Grand Prix before the end of the season.
That Grand Prix is going to be such a sweat for so many players.
Right. It's these last 3 Grand Prix. A lot of people are trying to fit in there like 5 slots for like 5 finishes for Grand Prix because the Pro Tour M15 is the last event. After Pro Tour M15, there's no more.
After we wipe off the whiteboard and we set everyone starts out with 0 points next year.
Yeah, and so many exciting races coming, like the Play of the Year, like who's going to the World Championship, the World Cup team,
the World Magic Cup. Yeah.
They're just really like a lot of important kind of like spaces to fill.
Rookie of the Year, Player of the Year are going to be settled, although some would say they're both settled, but there's they're not stone cold locks.
No, they're not. I mean, like I would say both Reed Duke and Jared Betcher are favorites, like pretty significant favorites to kind of like going into the last tournament. But like PTs have a way of swinging things. I mean, I don't know how many like Player of the Year races have been come down to the last match.
Well, just look at Brad Nelson, the year that he eventually became Player of the Year.
Right.
At Worlds, we were like, there's no way he could lose. Guillaume Matignon would have to do this, and then he did it.
Yeah, I mean, there's just been so many that have come down to the final event of the season, like often in the top 8, final games, and it really is exciting. There's so many races that need to be settled by the end of the year.
Oh yeah, I love the last event of the year.
Yeah, no, it's extremely exciting, and I think with the advent of the World Magic Cup, even more kind of like nail-biting.
Oh, interesting. There's something. So in the past, the Player of the Year tie was settled at the first Pro Tour, but now with the World Magic, with the World Championship, it would have to be settled some other way.
Oh. Maybe at the World Magic Cup.
we invite you both. So Brett Nelson's taking a mulligan down to 6 cards here.
So I suspect Louise is on the play.
Yeah.
No one drop.
Have you ever accidentally scryed off a Shockland?
I have actually accidentally scryed off a Shockland. I've also taken 2 from a Scryland. So I've done it both ways. The one I do it most on actually is the Temple of Enlightenment Hallowed Fountain because they look really, really similar.
Okay, so Elvish Mystic again on turn 2, but this time it's Frostborn Weird and not the Tidebinder Mage.
If that Tidebinder Mage came down there, that would have been like a brutal turn for Luis. Now I think he's kind of like almost hedging himself a little bit for the Anger of the Gods because like he maybe he had it and he just decided to wait, but the Frostborn Weirds like 4 toughness just outside the range of the Anger of the Gods.
There you see Nykthos.
Yeah, he can produce 4 now, which is actually like turn 4 actually like is starting to like ramp out stuff. So Luis looks like he actually has both massive waves and a Spectre. So I think he's deciding whether he's going to put more in. Okay, so he's going massive waves.
Yeah, he's like, I'll just make these 5 tokens if that's okay.
Yeah, 5 tokens. Even if the Anger of the Gods happens, only the tokens die. Actually, everything else stays.
Right. Well, Anger of the Gods is still a red source away for.
That's true.
For Brad.
Brad is definitely looking down the barrel of like a pretty formidable army. I mean, I think Luis is very content to throw away probably some of these elementals the next turn, just to start pressuring him, like just get some damage through because he could.
You put the Master Waves out there, offering the 1-for-1 trade a lot of the time.
Oh
right?
yeah.
You're like, here's my Master, kill it. Let's move on to the next phase of the game.
Though I don't think he actually has any 1-for-1 way of dealing with Master of Waves. He doesn't have like, I mean, this would be a stretch on his mana, but he doesn't have something like Chain to the Rocks or something
Right,
like
right.
that. Like every removal spell he has is red. So Massive Waves is staying on table unless it blocks.
There's a Mistcoder Hydra
Mistcoder
go. No
wow.
fourth land.
No
Neither,
fourth land.
Both players missed their fourth land drop.
Okay.
Because remember, Luis was on the play.
So actually, Luis can actually attack with his Frostborn Weirds as well. You know, just to kind of like throw him off the scent a little.
Yeah. Send in all the tokens, and
Yeah, and the Frostborn Weirds, I think that would be pretty reasonable.
I mean, he's got another Master of Waves too. So like he could actually play Master.
Wow. And I mean, yeah, if he plays Master, I mean that is a lot of damage basically, because all the elementals become 3/3s. No, so he decided that he's not. I suspect it's because he has a Thassa in his hand, so I think Thassa is yet another like good threat basically to put on the table that doesn't get like angered away. So yeah, there is Thassa.
Oh, right, yeah. And Thassa comes into play as a creature, so it evolves
and Brad is basically dead here because like the Nykthos is going to give it enough mana to make make Thassa unblockable. So he really needs a Deicide right now. If there's no Deicide, I think this could be curtains for Brad. The mana problem's not hurting Luis anywhere near as much because he was lucky enough to have the Nykthos.
But again, you see, like, you know, one of the problems with, you know, a 3-color deck is you not only need the correct amount of mana.
So I've never actually seen a Deicide hit a god, so this is a first for me. But now it would have been sweet actually if Luis's hand was just like 3 other Thassas.
Or even 1, right? He gets to see.
Yeah.
He gets to see how Luis is sideboarded. And
yeah, I mean it's definitely interesting to know kind of like what he could possibly draw. The problem Brad still has is that he's like
Luis's board.
Yeah, Luis is going to win with the cards on the board. I think if you I mean just casting another Massive Waves. He's like, yeah, I can't beat another Massive Waves.
He's like, if we play in the top 8, I want to see what your deck.
All right. Unfortunately,
that sideboard.
That kind of like puts Brad